Already got everything. So we should be streaming. You'll be able to pull it up if you're using a phone to see the chat and things like that. Just keep my volume down on the phone so that way it don't, interfere with the stream.
Hello.
All right, perfect.
Okay, good.
I stole your picture, if you'll see in the thumbnail. I stole your picture from your little intro you did before our last live. It was the only picture I could get of you. So I used that picture. Yeah, all right, so we're going to welcome everyone in. I'm going to share this link on, there we go, perfect. All right, guys, so I'm going to share this on Twitter. There's our buddy Dame in there. Let me get to my channel. And let me just mute the volume. Oh, no, I don't have to. I just got to get to the live stream. And let me just mute the volume. Oh, no, I don't have to. I just got to get to the live. All right, there we go. Had to copy it. Now I can go here to Twitter and do a quick post. So people will know we are live. It's weird trying to do it on the computer because, here we go. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's the same computer that you're using to.
Yeah, it's like weird. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to welcome everyone in. I'm getting the link set up on Twitter, live stream. And I'm tagging you, Tony, so that way people will know. MMTLP. MMAT Dividend. Approved oil talk. Let's go. All right. Let that pop up there, and there we go. Perfect. So we got it on Twitter. So people will, sometimes people say they don't get the YouTube notification. So I thought it'd be best to make sure I get that tweet out on Twitter. So people that are following me on Twitter or people that'll follow you will see that come across there as well. So
cool.
All right. So we got people joining in. I'm going to say thank you to everyone joining in. I think a great way to start out this stream is going to be a little calculation that Tony here just did. And he just told me this before the stream, and it actually puts a real smile on my face, man. So I'm going to let Tony, you guys know how I say, welcome in all my future meta millionaires. Well, Tony here, my man, did a calculation and he has some numbers he's going to explain to you. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Tony and let him explain about the future meta millionaires and that it's a possibility.
So hi, everyone. So basically, Terry likes to say, hello, meta millionaires, hello, future meta millionaires, right? Well, if you get a 25x gain on MMTLP, right? That means for every $1 you put in, you get $25 out. And if you reinvested that back into MMAT, there's a strong chance that MMAT would also, take off like crazy as well. So let's say you get a 25x gain on MMAT, okay? 25 times 25 is 625. Turns out that if you put in $1,600 at the start, you get, and multiply that by 625, you get $1 million. So Terry is, yeah, he's more right than he knows. You may not have believed him, but hey, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. So, a quick summary here. If you throw $1,600 at MMTLP and get your $1,600, I guess, yeah, $1,600 in MMTLP, and say we do get a $25 so divvy, you take all that money, you reinvest it back into metamaterials, and let's say metamaterials is still trading at $1.20 or something.
Yeah.
And if we squeeze metamaterials up to $25, you're a meta millionaire. Simple as that.
Yep.
Simple as that. But I do have a feeling.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, not financial advice. Not financial advice. It's a little fun math there. But I think we do know that it's going to be a little bit of running on both plays. Once this dividend comes out, people's going to buy MMTLP. And then you're going to have the people like us that's going to buy MMTLP beforehand because they know people that's going to eventually get that dividend is going to reinvest it, and it's going to cause the squeeze. It's going to be massive, massive amounts of people running in to buy metamaterials when they hear the MMTLP situation.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing is that so the people who shorted Torchlight originally are the same people who shorted metamaterials. So they're going to get a margin call from that short, and that's going to result in an MAT going up as well too. So you might as well just roll it back in. I mean, that's my plan at least.
Yeah. And I do plan on like your model. Of course, now if we get the dividend, like what Roller Pigeon says, and what your calculations back tested her math, if we get that 29 to 46, my goal is to pay off my house. Like that's my first goal, is to get my house paid off. So once my house paid off, I would like take like 25% because I already have like a position in metamaterials, but I would like to take 25% of that and throw it back into and help the cause of the squeeze as well. So that's kind of my plan. If we can get those amounts, get the house paid off, throw 25% back in metamaterials, and man, life would be good. Special shout out to Tony in the chat here for doing the $5 super chat. Anything we get tonight, I will find a way to try to send Tony Market Moves the money as well, and however we can, if he has a Cash App or something.
Oh, it's okay.
But I'll try to get him something. We'll get him something.
No, really, don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. So welcome everyone in. Tony did a video a few months back, and I found it to be a fantastic video. And I wanted to have him come on here and talk to you guys about this video he did about how huge proved oil production for Torchlight Energy, how huge that's going to be for the dividend. And we got some slides from that video, and I think that people might have watched it, but like I said, it's been a few months back. And we had the Berta call this Sunday, and everyone's hyped up. Everyone's excited. So we're going to get into these slides. I'm going to pull them up one by one, and then I'm going to let Tony kind of explain how he came up with these slides and the background story behind it. And also a thank you to Donald for the super chat as well. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. You don't even know. All right. So first, let me get over here, and you're going to see the first picture here. Tony, you'll be able to see it here in a second. This is the first one you sent me. So I'm going to have it up on the screen. The floor is yours, man.
Okay. Just waiting for it to get there. Oh, wow. Interesting. My YouTube feed is a little bit faster than the Microsoft live stream. Oh, I see. It's only on the YouTube feed. It's not on the live stream. Okay.
Okay.
It's not on the Teams. I got it. So this was part of an overall plan that I was thinking of, right? So so we'd like to get to a situation where the wells, where the oil is in this category called proved, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's proved, that means it's going to be worth a lot more. To get to proved, we have to actually pump a bunch of oil and actually sell it, right? Because we don't want to hold on to this oil and all that. So as a result, I was trying to figure out, hey, look, what would it cost if we had to build if we actually had to build a pipeline and pump some oil and actually ship it out there, right? So I took some rudimentary calculations and figured out a pipeline would probably cost something in the range of $160 million, let's just say. And that's to get to the nearest town, which is El Paso. It's one of the,
I think so.
Yeah. So there's a Marathon refinery there. So I figured out if you had to build a pipeline from scratch, maybe it would cost somewhere in the range of $160 million, right? Mm-hmm. And how much would that actually affect the price of the dividend? And it turned out that in this case, it would have almost negligible effect, because you expect to get billions out of this, right? You're actually expecting to get something like, I don't know, 20 billion, between 13 billion and above. So $160 million is like, it's actually chump change, believe it or not, when you're talking 13 billion. That's 13,000 million. So 160 out of 13,000 turns out not to affect it. But the interesting thing is, if they had to build a pipeline, they actually could. It's not a big deal. It turns out that there is a natural gas pipeline over there already, not an oil pipeline, but a natural gas pipeline that's in the area that they might be able to like pump some extra natural gas out of as well too. So Roller Pigeons just made a video about that. So that's pretty cool. But I figured you could build about 10 10 wells in the area, 10 production wells, and it would probably take, so they did 4 wells in a month in December 2021, and they spent, like $14 million to get those 4 wells done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, actually wouldn't cost too much to build, to build 10 more wells. So if they did this in a month in December, give them about 2 or 3 months, and they could actually probably do about 10 wells or so, right? So it couldn't be that bad. So I also wanted to figure out how long it might take. So this estimate, which was a while back, was looking 2 to 3 months. If you even double it, it would be like 4 to 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So that means that well hits within Roller Pigeon's deadline of like Q4. She was thinking Q3, Q4. I was hoping Q2 to Q3, but it's all in the same ballpark or so. At most you're going to wait a quarter or more or so.
And we're fine with that. I mean, we've been here this long. What's another quarter? That's
enough.
I mean, I think the thing people want to know is like, what's a ballpark price? And they can't really say that, I guess, because which it would just drive the price insane if they come out and say, well, now we're estimating it's going to be $20 to $40. Oh my God, the thing would instantly go to 20 in a matter of a blink of an eye. If they're,
Well, I saw your last video about possible $41.
yeah, that was the George tweet, and that was a lot of speculation going on with that. And it is kind of in the ballpark range. It really is. We know George likes his cryptic tweets. George does that. I don't know if he's trying to be the next Elon Musk or whatever, but George is very well known for the cryptic tweets. And I just thought I'd have fun with it. A lot of people were saying that 40 divvy, $41 divvy, and then a lot of people were going really far-fetched with a bunch of different dates out of it as well because of the numbers. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go that far with it, but just the 4 and 10, divvy, let's go. So, all right, so there's that.
Oh yeah, so one other thing. So I believe that it turned out that the back testing of the ConocoPhillips and all that data, their wells are in the proved category. So if we get to that proved category, our prices go up dramatically. Right?
Oh. So the ConocoPhillips, the math behind all that was on proven wells.
Yeah, because they were already pumping. Okay. So because they're already pumping, they were pumping, I think, about 200,000 barrels a day was their thing. So what I did was I took their 200,000 barrels, multiplied it out across 25 years as a standard kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And that gives you an idea of how much oil there is there, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of these calculations, like a lot of people will be that's starting to understand this, and it's like, we haven't even factored in the natural gas possibilities in this as well. Oh, yeah. So this is strictly oil calculations, guys. Like, if we get to proved, as we're going to get into these other slides we have, we haven't even factored in gas possibilities, what that could be worth. That could throw in some extra cash as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
yeah, I mean, the numbers sound insane.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that, you got the people who discovered this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Who haven't sold a single share, right? And they're holding on to it.
Yeah, and I mean, Berta just this past Sunday, and he tweeted it a while back. So it was really nice to hear him physically say it on the phone Sunday. For him and Greg McCabe, hasn't sold anything. They have no intentions of selling anything. And I think it was really the part me and you was discussing before we got in this stream. I found it very bullish that when Berta got a call from his broker saying, hey, John, what's this MMTLP? It's showing $6.6 million in your brokerage. And we know John Berta holds 2.2 million shares. If John Berta, being the oil and gas expert he is a oil and gas expert. He was the freaking CEO of Torchlight. He is the oil and gas expert. He would know roughly what he thinks that land is worth with what's currently going on with the process that Meta's helping them do. If he
Mhm.
felt that this divvy was $1 to $3 in his eye, he just would have said, cash me out right now. Cash me out. And
Mhm.
he said, no, I don't want no parts of it. I'm not selling it. So that's why I'm thinking the divvy is going to be easily more than $3, and it has to be probably. And another key point we talked about that was amazing, John mentioned, and I'm sure this was the key part for you. He sees a lot of stuff on Twitter, and he says that 95% of it is correct.
Which is awesome.
Which is amazing. And I'm just like, please be the dividend calculation in that 95%. And I do believe the calculation is in the 95%. And the reason I'm going to say that is because later on in that talk, Berta said that he's been getting recommendations from people to watch Burr Lady videos.
Mm-hmm.
So why would people be telling John to watch her videos? You know what I mean? For him to sit down and watch one of her videos. They must be saying her calculations are like dead on, man. You have to watch this to see it. Because if it was like truly off by a mile, they're not going to bug John to watch a video of hers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just my opinion. But that's why I'm thinking, like, for people to tell John, you got to watch her video, and it's probably because she's dead on or very close to what this thing's going to be.
She's pretty much dead on. So the whole thing is, when I back tested that against the ConocoPhillips data, I was expecting, maybe 20%, 50% ballpark, right?
Yeah.
This thing was within 1%. And I was like, what? Stuff like that is not chance.
Yeah.
You don't randomly happen to be that close, to be that exact. I was like, that's all it took for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through roller pigeons, back tested it 4 or 5 times because she's like, oh, it can't be that close. Right?
Yeah.
But I was totally convinced. I was like, this is real.
You were on board ever since.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pull up this second slide we have here. It'll just probably take a minute for it to show up. And I'm going to let you take the floor and go over this slide from that video.
So let's see. Oh, okay. This is about what the stuff means. Okay. So a lot of people who were, so this is meant for for the general public. When people say that, there's no oil there, or they say, oh, I read stuff in the, in the 10K, and the Oro Grande is listed at like $0 value, right? Well, it has to be listed at $0 value because it's not categorized as quote unquote proved. Now, if you're proved, you can be proved developed or proved undeveloped. But proved has a specific meaning. And the only way you can be classified as proved is if you're, so this yellow part is about proved undeveloped, because that's as best as you can get there, right? So the only way you can be proved and undeveloped is if your locations are in direct offsets or really close to wells that have indicated commercial production, right? Which means you have to have a well that's got commercial production. So once you got one well with commercial production, then you can make another well that's close by to it, right? Close enough to it that's now. So that one well is proved. The next well that's close to it, that also becomes proved. And then you just keep tacking on wells close by to it, right? And that gives you and that means those wells now have proved production. And that increases the overall value, because if you're going to buy a car, right, and you want to buy a Ferrari, you want to know that that Ferrari goes 200 miles an hour around the track, right? You don't want to buy a Ferrari that's, that hasn't been test driven at all, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, it's closer to buying a race car. When you buy, when your well's approved, it basically means you've got a race car that already won races, right? And that increases the value significantly, because now you can just take that and just pump. You don't have to do anything with it. Right now, I think we're in the probable area, because what they've done is they've actually drilled down. They've gotten a lot of oil out, right? But they're not in commercial production. So to get into commercial production, they need to get the wells a little bit bigger, right? They need to pump a lot more oil. But they did all the stuff to figure out how much commercial production would be from that well if they actually went into commercial. So so they can get there. It's just a question of doing a little bit of commercial production, which means take the oil out, pump it, sell it, and then at that point you're proved, and at that point you move to the next well that's close by to it. You don't have to get all of those into commercial production. You just have to be direct offsets to it, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for that awesome explanation. I got a couple shout outs. Thank you to Terry Mundy for the super chat, and thank you to my buddy Hal Williams for the super chat as well. All right. So what was I going to say then? I got sidetracked. Yeah. So the big thing here is, I think they are working. The reason it's taken so long is that we know they talked about this before, and actually it is still COVID. They're probably having trouble getting employees down there. We heard Berta in an old clip that the Torchlight land is like by itself. There's not much around it. So to get people to that land, it's a hike. It's not like just right outside of town. So that's a good and bad thing. So to get employees, to get the vehicles and the equipment there, it's a lot of work, but you're not going to have much competition out where the Torchlight, land is. So once they get all this groundwork done, get the wells in place, get the production proved, someone's going to walk in and just be able to start the mission, because Metamaterials and Torchlight getting it all ready to go to get to that proof status, because they're probably back testing it like what you and like Roller Pitches is doing. And if we can get the Torchlight land to proved, bingo, that's where the maximum value to the shareholders of Torchlight is going to get, man. They know that Torchlight ran up to $10, $11 before the reverse split. And, now it's back down to went from 10, then the reverse split took up to 20, and now we're down here at $1.20. So they want to make sure that those shareholders get rewarded for holding for that special dividend. Berta did clear up, which was so nice to hear. For a lot of people that didn't trust buying MMTLP, the reasoning that they were able to buy it, and the reason that these market makers were able to legally put it on the market, and it was because of one word, and that the filing, transferable.
Transferable.
One word, transferable, was now I'm sure they learned their lesson on that one. And probably a lot of other people will, that transferable will not be in any part of special dividend if you're supposed to hold through a record date. And also, Berta did confirm there's going to be a new record date. So I think we're going to have another little squeeze possibility, because people always like to run into these catalyst plays. And once the PR comes out, there will be another record date that you have to hold through. And I'm sure transferable won't be in that filing. Transferable will not be in the filing. So Berta made a good point in that when he said, though, when that happens, you might not be able to buy it. The market makers might take it off because they want to hope to have people sell it back. And as the price slowly goes up, like Burley tells us, remember your training, because as it hits up to $2, you're going to have some people sell off. When it hits up to $3, you're going to have more people, and they're going to buy them. They're going to be more than happy to buy them at $2, $3, $4. They're going to buy them every little bit it goes up. They're going to buy as many as they can. But the people that know what this is really worth isn't going to be selling down here at $3, $5, and things like that. It's just not going to happen. So
yeah, it's already hard to buy it now, right? So a friend of mine about a week ago or so on Fidelity, after they closed it down and all that, and they issued those, those notices, he tried to buy it. He was on the phone for, he told me, an hour and a half, right, in order to get an actual buy order to go through. It took that long to go through everything, and he listened to everything and all that. And it took a while. So if you wanted to buy a lot of shares, I have no idea how you're going to do that. If you wanted to buy anything more than like $10,000 worth of shares, you're going to be waiting a long time.
And then
Yeah.
it could be a good idea if you had a couple different brokerages and try to do so much through each brokerage to
Yeah.
try to, I don't know, man. I don't think there's near. And Berta does think that there is people shorting MMTLP. He can't confirm it.
Oh, sure.
He does believe
Yeah.
that there is shorts, but there's no way really to confirm it because it's on the gray sheets and stuff. But it's going to be interesting. My last two videos from Monday and Tuesday, I've called Fidelity on my lunch break, and I cannot get through to the freaking fixed income specialist. So I wasted a half hour each day, cannot get through. I'm on hold, and I can't buy any more MMTLP, and I'm so upset because when I was trying to buy it at $1.05, and now it's like up to $1.25, $1.30, I'm like, ugh. So I'm unable to get it as it keeps going up. I was gonna buy it at $1.05, but Sting and Fidelity has the freaking restriction on there. Now I've had a lot of people message me and say, Terry, you can open up TD Ameritrade. I think you can open up, is it Trade Station or there's another.
Yeah, I think there's other brokerages.
Someone messaged me and said, I think it's Trade Station. They opened their brokerage and they gave them instant buying power and they bought their shares instantly. No wait, no nothing. Once his account got set up, he told me he put a couple $100 in there. They gave him the instant credit. He didn't have to wait for money to clear or anything. He was able to go ahead and buy MMTLP and his order filled right away. So that is a possibility that I might have to do like a Trade Station account or whatever it's called. That person told me, and just be able to, I don't know, buy something in there. But things going crazy. All right.
But they will likely limit how much you can buy as well too. That's the other thing.
I try to buy couple hundred at a time to kind of fly under the radar. I will have something to show at the end. I don't know if you've seen something that I think I shared on Twitter earlier today about a gentleman, which I can pull it up here. Infidelity. His MMTLP shares are on loan.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I retweeted that. I had a person on my live stream I did last night say, hey, Terry, Fidelity emailed me and they wanted to borrow my MMTLP and they're paying him like 8%.
That's insane.
8% interest. And he gave me all the details. He didn't give me the actual email, but he texted me out all the details. So I'm going to do like a video on that, but I can give everyone a quick summary while we're here on the stream. You have to have over $100,000 in your Fidelity account in order to be, I guess you want to say, qualified to lend out your shares for borrowing. So
interesting. Okay.
He said he has no risk of them, because I said, that's awesome. They're paying you like 8-something% interest on it, because he had like $25,000 worth. So he's getting like 8% interest as we wait for everything to go through, which is pretty nice. He's just collecting interest on his MMTLP. But the interesting part is he said that he has no risk of them selling his shares. Because I said, that's the big thing. That's awesome you're getting that interest. But he said, yeah, they're just on loan. They can't physically sell his shares. I said, you just got to make sure, because you do not want to lose those shares, if they can
So the only reason to loan shares is for someone who's shorting them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's evidence that people are shorting MMTLP.
Yeah, and that must mean it's like a high short, because they're asking to borrow and they're paying him 8. Let me pull it up so you can see it actually. I'm going to pull up my tweet I did. So we did the second slide for tonight so far. Right here it is. I'm going to pull it up and I'll see if I can make it bigger. Actually, I can. There you go. I'm sorry, he's getting 7.875%, almost 8%.
Yeah. Basically 8, yeah.
Yeah, basically 8%.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yep.
So that confirms my original suspicion. So so I originally believed that the only reason that this MMTLP is trading and it has to trade at a low price, is to trade back and forth to get people to sell the MMTLP shares, because the people who are trading it, they want the MMTLP shares.
Oh yeah.
Because they have a liability, right? So they have to pay out because they shorted Torchlight. So if you shorted Torchlight on those last few days, you're now stuck with having to pay out for these Series A preferred shares. So you don't want to wind up paying out $20 when your short position was like $2 or $5 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they want to get those shares back. And that was my suspicion. And John Berta basically confirmed it, right? He said, hey, look, there were two market makers trading shares back and forth because they want to get because they want to get your shares. So the other thing is they have to keep the price of the shares low because they want people to get bored. So there's their plan is boredom and fear, right? So, so as long as the price stays relatively low, you'll be bored, right? And then they'll slam it down really hard.
Yep.
And then they hope to get people to panic sell.
Yep.
So
and Berta said in that call too, and it's funny you said, because I was going to say when you were done that what they're hoping to do is let this trader in the market not move anywhere, and because they know retail has, I guess you would say, short attention span. Like a lot of the newer retail that's came into market the last couple of years since the Rona, in a sense, we're used to buying a stock and the next day it goes up 20%. That's how we all came into the market. So we're all kind of, we were all taught that way. That's how I was taught. My first journey came as I bought Carnival stock, CCL. I bought that at like $8 and $9 a share when it got beat down, and the Saudi Arabia pipe fund came in and bought like millions and millions of shares of Carnival at $8 a piece. And I'm like, if they're buying it at $8 a piece, I don't mind paying $9 a piece. So I bought them at $9, and the summer of, I bought them in like February, March of 2020, right after Rona really killed the market, and Carnival was down like $8. By June or July, Carnival stock was then trading at like $23, $24 because people thought the cruising was going to come back. So I sold them all because I knew cruising wasn't coming back. And then the stock went right back down. Mm-hmm. But my MMAT journey didn't go as smoothly as that because I'm like, I buy CCL at $8 and $9 in March. I sell it in July for $24. Good deal. Here we buy MMAT, and it just went the opposite way ever since I bought it. But I have been buying the dip. I have been averaging down when I can. I've been trying to really focus on MMTLP because I do think that that's going to be the first catalyst for MMAT stock, and to get money flowing back into MMAT stock as well. All right. So let me pull up here this third slide we have. So that was 1, 2, and so this one here is going to cover the next steps in the process.
Yeah. So one of the things I did discover in my investing journey through life, I guess, is that if you're investing right, you've done your homework, you've done your investigations, all that, it should be very painful, and it should be something that that you don't feel good about when you buy, because the only time you make money is when you buy. When you sell, you just realize your profits, right? Because you were right. But when you buy, you can't. There's no way you're going to get the bottom price. There's no way you're going to get that minimum price point. So wherever you buy, it's going to head down towards the minimum. It's going to go down from wherever you buy, and you're going to feel bad. And that's just the way things are.
Oh yeah.
So if you feel bad, it's okay. It's not. That's just the way life is. Because when you make money, that's just. I mean, when the price is going up, you're all happy and all that. But you know what? You didn't get a chance to buy a lot.
All right, so do you see what I got up on here then?
Oh,
if you wanted
okay.
to...
Likely next steps in the process. Okay, yeah. So I kind of figured that what chances are, so what they want to do, so what MetaMaterials wants to do, what Torchlight wants to do, is they want to sell the oil land, right? And they want to get maximum value for it. To get maximum value for it, they want to get to the proved state, right? To get to the proved state, that means they got to do some production, right? And to get to the production, they got to have a few production wells. So they're going to start increasing the bore size. They're going to make the hole bigger to pump more oil out, right? They're going to do some lateral drilling. Now, I was talking to roller pigeons the other day. Traditionally, when you do lateral drilling, you want to go out like, I don't know, 10,000 feet or so, right? But they found some new technologies out that you only have to go out a little bit, like 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. So I'm not sure what those technologies are, but technology is always improving over time.
Absolutely.
So you don't have, yeah. So if you only have to go out a short amount lateral and then you frack, then you get a ton of oil, right? Oh, the other thing is, it turns out that roller pigeons found water in the Oro Grande Basin, and that water basically means that you get a chance to take the water, pump it down in the well. Water is actually expensive to bring to the well, right? I mean, if there's no water there, so it's your fracking fluid, and it's 99% water with a bunch of other chemicals. So once you got the water going down in there, then you don't have to worry about stuff too much, right? Now, I did have some satellite images, some drone images that were taken in the last days of torchlight of the A25 well.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah. So I did show those a while back, and they had they had these water tanks over there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were trying that fracking thing. They were actually pumping the water down in there and whatnot. So so I have no doubt that they have to get that stuff into production to get the maximum value out. But to get the stuff into production, they don't want to be metamaterials. They want to be Oil Co., right, or the spin out, because they don't want it to affect the rest of metamaterials, right? Metamaterials is a high-tech company. Oil Co. is an oil company, right?
Yep.
So the Oil Co. section will be, confined, and it'll be making a ton of money because oil's expensive right now.
Yeah.
So they're going to be making a nice revenue stream as Oil Co., right? And that's just the initial stuff. I mean, I wouldn't even pay attention to how much money they're making. They can dump the whole thing right back into more wells to get more proved, right? But they have to spin out to Oil Co. in order to do that production, to get to proved, right? Mm-hmm. And once you're at the proved, then you get the high payout, right? Because you got 3.2 billion barrels of oil. And if anyone's going to buy 3.2 billion barrels of oil in the ground, they want it proved.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a big purchase. So, I mean, if you're going to be buying it, you definitely want to make sure that it's proved.
Yeah.
And
it's probably somewhere 13 billion.
Yeah. And kind of like we talked about before, most oil goes back like so many days from the last day. So the longer this, like say if they go 6 months or go 1 year, an average, or 3 months, the longer this goes, the better it's going to be for us because we're knocking out those low days from last year. So the longer this does drag out, I mean, if we can get all it's going to be amazing from the oil prices of 2022. All right. Let's see here. Let me go to the next slide. And if you did, Tony, if you had those those pictures, if you had them readily available, if not, you can save it for another time. We could throw them in this one or save it. I don't know if you had them right there where you're at.
You can let me see what I can do.
If you had those pictures, I'll give a quick shout out here in the chat to Alexander. Thank you for the super chat, man. Thank you so much. I'm gonna say thank you to everyone that's done a super chat. Thank you to everyone that is a channel member. You guys are amazing. Welcome everybody in. We got a good bit of people on the stream, so thank you all very much. We got 183 people watching, Tony. That is freaking amazing.
That is amazing. Okay, and I got some photos I'm going to shoot you.
Perfect. And in the meantime, I'm going to give a quick plug. Tony's on this live stream with me here tonight. But here in the near future, shortly after hours, the one to watch, guys, is coming up. Is going to be Tony and Roller Pigeons. So once they get a time and date set out, if they let me know, I will definitely let my viewers know. Because I want to make sure all the meta millionaires go to that live stream and watch the two dividend specialists do a live stream together, because that is going to be something extraordinary to see. All right.
Hopefully you can see those.
Okay. Let me go pull those up real quick. So I'm on that one. Did you send them in through Twitter?
Oh, no, I sent them in through Teams.
Oh, what even?
That's in the chat, the Teams
see.
chat.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't know how that'll, let me see. I guess it will work. All right, so here we go. Let me blow it up. See if everyone can see that. All right, cool. They can see it. Let me zoom in on it. See if it lets me zoom in. Oh, no, it won't let me zoom in. Or will it? Whoa, a little too much zoomed in. Whoa. Whoa. Microsoft Teams don't work as smoothly as the other thing there. Let me go back. Are you able to send those through Twitter by chance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me do that.
That might work a little better for me to be able to zoom in and get everyone a nice clear shot. The Microsoft Teams wouldn't let me click on it and like zoom in because I got a touchscreen laptop. So I'm able to like click and zoom in.
Let's see. Twitter.
All right.
So here's one. And let's go with the other one.
Hal's saying here in the chat, I think he's talking about his MMTLP. He says, how about 15 million? I could get by. Yeah, $15 million, Hal. I think you'll be okay, my man. All right, so here's the first picture Tony sent. With that beautiful picture of the Torchlight land right there.
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful. That's what we're working on, guys, right there.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, you can see all the little like modular homes down there. All the containers, a lot of the material and all there. And I mean, you can see like there's nothing around. It's just pure like, I mean, it's just pure desert. They wasn't kidding when they said like, we are out in the middle of nowhere. Like they was not kidding. They were definitely.
Yeah, they are out of nowhere.
All right, here's the
There's
other
a little
one.
pond with some red fluid in there. So, so that's interesting. That might be some stuff that they, yeah, that's an interesting fluid. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. This next photo that you're seeing is the water tank, and then they got some fluid that they pumped out right from the well. So, so you can see the oil.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I believe that one picture, this one here, is one Berta commented on and said he took this with his drone.
Yeah.
I believe this is the one taken by Berta with the drone. So that's pretty cool. Like those are some excellent pictures.
Yeah, modern technology.
Yes, yes. Them drones, man, are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I think so. We did that one. All right.
Yeah, he even has a so he even has one where he's got a drone at night flying around the well.
Oh wow, I didn't
like
see that.
3-minute video. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the next slide and let you talk about it. It looks like it's kind of more of a detailed part of it, so I'll let it come up and let you kind of go over what you got here highlighted.
Yeah. Oh, so there is a ton of oil there. It's just not in that proved state. And they do, and it's not like raw land in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, it's raw land in the middle of nowhere, but it's being developed, right? It's being drilled.
Yeah.
That stuff is actually happening.
So here in this slide, guys, you'll see Tony has the proved reserves, what all that means. We got down here at the bottom, the 3.2 billion barrels of oil. The buyer's going to want to know the production data.
Yeah. He's going to want it to be proved, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So all this language was developed to make sure that investors know the quality of whatever oil there is out there, right? So if they first just if they first just drill down and they find a little bit of oil, okay, it's you might have some oil, right? But once you actually do your due diligence, start drilling more oil and all that, you move from possible to probable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you move from probable to proved, then your numbers go up by a factor of like 10 to 1. Right? So
Wow.
it's like huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah. So the specific language is required by the SEC. You can't talk about oil and you can't put stuff in your books as having it unless it's in these categories, right? So the oil land in the Oro Grande Basin is it's in the books of metamaterials at $0 value. So that means it's really not in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 73 million they have there is for stuff, it's for rigs, things like that, whatnot, they got, but it's not about any of the oil land in the Oro Grande Basin. It's for something else. It's chump change, basically.
Yeah, and I think they made it clear that they don't want this oil and gas on the books of Meta because it will affect the valuation drastically.
Yeah.
So they got to get it off the books before they can, do anything. So
It's for the price to it's for the PE ratio, right?
yeah,
If you're an oil company, your PE ratio is going to be relatively low.
yeah,
If you're a high-tech semiconductor company, your PE ratio is going to be somewhere in the range of 25 to 50.
oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah. So that
So
is a
whatever.
huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I wanted to ask people in the chat real quick, people that trade on TD Ameritrade, do they charge you a fee to process your trade? I've had people say that they do charge a fee to buy MMTLP, and then I've had people say they don't. So I really don't know if there is a fee. If there's a fee on it there. I know Fidelity doesn't have the fee. They are requiring you to call in. Oh, okay, I got people saying here, yes, $6 and it looks like $6.95 fee per trade. So if you're going to buy on TD, and E-Trade as well, so they all have fees. So Fidelity waives the fee for having to call in, but I almost rather pay the fee so I can get my freaking shares than having to wait an hour and a half. I'd rather pay the $6.95 and get my trade right there. Yeah, they kind of. I may have to check out that trade station because that is the one that guy told me that he didn't have to call, he didn't have to pay a fee, and he just bought it right away. So may have to check that out. All right.
So I also come from the crypto space a little bit, and when you sell crypto, you're going to pay a trading fee, and it's not going to be $6.95. It's going to be something like 1.5%. And that's for Coinbase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of expected. And that kind of, believe it or not, when you're paying that fee, you don't get payment for order flow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all the free trades that came about,
yeah.
I mean, I was wondering, gee, free trades, it makes no sense. How do these brokerages make any money? They make money because they sell your order flow to someone else like Citadel, right? Citadel front runs your order, right? You get a price that you think is the lowest possible price, but it's actually a higher price than what you would have gotten if you just paid the fee, right? Yeah. And then later on, they can manipulate that stock price any way they want. So I'd rather pay a fee.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have noticed a few times that I've tried to do some trading on Robinhood. I try to use that for options because it does have the most easiest platform for options trading. So I do like Robinhood for options. I know we all hate them for the payment for order flow and things like that. But I do try to do a little day trading and stuff like that on there. But I will notice sometimes the stock price will be like, I don't know, let's say $5.50. I'll go to execute my trade, and I hear I paid $5.55. I'm like, whoa, how did it just jump up 5 seconds from the time I hit the buy button, and now it's back down to $5.45, but they charged me $5.55. I'm like, so right there, the 10-cent swing per share.
Yeah.
All right.
So the other thing I've noticed with MMTLP is when you look at the trade, right, you'll see what the price is, of course. You'll see the bid and the ask.
Yeah.
But there's also another number next to that says size. So if you look at the size, that's how many shares are available at the ask and how many shares are available at the bid. So if you want to buy and you see that, it's a good price, like let's say it's $1 or $1.05, right? You look at the ask, you see that there's only like 5 shares available.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy a bunch, if you want to buy like 100 shares, suddenly the price goes up because now there's not a lot of shares at that price. Right?
Sounds like you're talking about MMTLP because those orders are hard to fill.
Yeah, I don't think. I think when that divvy gets announced, it'll be impossible to buy. Basically, everyone will.
Yeah. That is why I'm trying to add some shares, just to get some more, because I do think Berta, when he made that comment about that, it's going to be a little differently played out, and he thinks that the market makers are going to take it all from buying, and they're only going to let you sell it. And I think that's where those companies are going to run up the price because no one's able to buy it, but you're able to sell it, and there's going to be no buying pressure on it. So it's only going to be the sell and then the buy from the people, like, I don't know, Citadel, whoever the heck's owning them. But anyway, owns the wanting to buy MMTLP back for a cheaper price. So that's where it's going to come in and make the price go up, I think. And they're going to test it. How much can I buy for $1.50? How many shares can I buy at $2? How many can I buy at $2.50? And they're going to keep slowly dragging the price up and seeing who's going to sell at what prices. I personally set a goal that do not plan on selling anything until I hear what officially MetaMaterials has to say. Now, I know Roller Pigeon said she set her sell limit, I think it's $76, because her estimate's 29 to 46, but she added on the capital gains tax. So if she's going to be forced to sell, 76 I think was the number, because that'll cover her capital gains tax.
So
go ahead.
She's going to, if you sell MMTLP and you bought it at any time in the last year, you're going to pay short-term capital gains, which basically means you're going to pay the maximum tax bracket possible.
Yeah.
In California, that's 54.1%.
Oh, man.
So
California is no joke, man. Jeez.
The Roller Pigeons is in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, she can add a little bit. If you buy stuff in California, I'm not going to sell it for anything less than over twice the price.
I don't blame you. Wow. We have a question here in the chat. Thank you to Craig Brown for the super chat. And he has a question for you, Tony. He says, Tony, has your bullishness increased or decreased or stayed the same after the recent Berta comments? And I think he's referring to the Sunday Twitter space.
So I was very bullish before. And I have to admit, when the price goes down, I'm a human being like everybody else, right?
Yep.
So I don't feel good, right?
Yep.
So I was super enthused after hearing Berta because basically he said what I believed before he said it, right?
Yep.
So I came up with this conjecture and all that, and I believed that. I really did. But it's hard to, it's hard when you're a human being. We're all human. It's hard when you're a natural human being and the price goes down and you're like, man, I wish I had that extra cash. I could have bought more or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then John Berta comes out and he says, it's just the way he said it as well, too. He said it very nonchalantly, which is exactly the way he should say it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious, right? So, it was obvious to me a while back. When the price goes down, I get affected like everybody else. I get sad, right?
Yeah.
But I still am not selling a single share because I know what it is. No. Yeah. So part of the reason I don't sell is because I don't believe that I'll be able to buy back in.
Yeah.
At a decent price.
Exactly.
So the other thing is there's this thing that the IRS has called a wash sale. So suppose the price goes down for whatever reason, and you panic sell. For you to buy back in. So if the price goes down and you sold, right, then you can take a tax loss. The tax loss is only up to $3,000, by the way, per year. So it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
But if the price goes back up and you want to buy it, right, you want to buy it back, now that tax loss is wiped away. It's gone. It's called a wash sale. At the same time, it's going to cost you more to buy back in.
Oh, wow.
And you may not be able to buy back in because the shares may not be available. And in my case, it's so hard to buy through Fidelity. I'm saying it's just not available.
That's
so
yeah. My my Fidelity sell button is broken because it's not happening.
It's not.
Not until MetaMaterials officially announces the dividend price. Then I can make a decision from there. Until then, Berta confirmed. And you'll know this too, man. We had a big discrepancy in the Meta fam for a while. People not believing in MMTLP. MMTLP is a distraction. All this hoopla. And Berta came on and said, I didn't understand any of this negativity around MMTLP. Like, he didn't understand like why retail investors were so mad and upset about MMTLP. You shouldn't be upset about people that was trying to educate people on MMTLP. I mean, the mistake came from Meta. If you really want to, they put the word transferable in the form. So you can't be mad at me. You can't be mad at Roller Pigeons. You can't be mad at you because we're doing videos being bullish on MMTLP. We didn't do the filings. We had nothing to do with that, you know?
Yeah.
We're just taking an opportunity to acquire more. That's what we're doing. And we're educating a lot of new investors. We were talking about this, that there is a lot of new investors coming into MetaMaterials and MMTLP. We've been noticing a lot more followers coming in. So that's awesome. And we want to get these people educated. And understand what they're putting their money into so they completely understand when they throw their money in there, they understand what they're putting themselves into. And it was funny at the end of that Berta thing, as you know, the most ironic part, and I love it, it was even Uncle Smokey wanted to go buy MMTLP after Berta gave his talk on it.
Everyone's happy.
I was like, wow, that is amazing. Even Uncle Smokey is wanting to buy MMTLP now. So it was awesome, man. We were all so hyped. You can hear it in Smokey's voice. You can hear it in my voice. You can hear it in when Berta said that, and Roller Pigeon's like, yay, out of nowhere in the chat.
Yay.
Yeah, we all were just celebrating. Like, everyone was just so excited. Like,
I think that's the one thing that only John Berta could have done, right?
Yeah.
Only the former Torchlight CEO could basically bring that Meta family back together. And that is, for that, I can't thank him enough.
Yeah.
Because,
we've been asking for just some kind of explanation from George or someone of Meta, you know, but as Berta says, they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole because Ken has a lawyer background and everything's legal. And I think Meta's upset because, you know, they made a mistake in the filing, I guess you want to say, by putting the word transferable because they never wanted us to be traded. But in turnabout, I think it's a good thing that might have happened because the people that was investing back in June of last year, a lot of those people were out of the market. They would right now care less about MetaMaterials. You know, if they invested back, I think a lot of those, as we know, stock market trends are down. I mean, you look back at June of last year to now, the trends are down. There's not the same investors that was probably buying that Torchlight. Not near as many are still following what's going on. You know, so they're getting a lot new investors and more retail into the community that are going to be long holders of MMAT due to this dividend. So it's like MMTLP is that blessing in disguise because you're going to get people money to reload the stock, rebuy that stock out. And big thing, Berta confirmed, the MMAX shares are just setting on the books and they have not came off the free float yet. And that is huge. You're talking like, was it 70 million shares of MMA, something like that? They haven't even hit the free float yet. All right, so we got a super chat here, and we got to give a special shout out to my girl Jenny. She is a regular viewer. She's always in the chat on my live premieres, and she said, "Thank Thanks, Tony and Terry, for all you do. And today is Jenny's birthday. So happy birthday, Jenny.
Happy birthday, Jenny.
All right, you got a happy birthday from me and Tony. And she goes, it's my birthday and happy to spend it with the MMTLP Meta fam. That's what's freaking up, man. That's awesome, Jenny. Everyone, and it's cool in the chat. Everyone's saying happy birthday, Jenny. We got awesome emojis down there. That's what I'm saying, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Let me get the happy birthday down here for her. Happy birthday. Woo, Jenny. All right.
Ooh.
There we go. All right. So let me now go.
Yeah.
We
if you think about it, since June, like you said, right?
Yeah.
The price of oil has basically gone skyrocketing.
Yes, exactly.
So, if anything, MMTLP is worth a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, the delays is a blessing in disguise. I mean, MMTLP is a blessing in disguise. The delays is a blessing in disguise. Like, you know, all these things are happening that wasn't supposed to happen, but they're happening, and it's only going to benefit the dividend in the long run. And I'm okay with that. And I really think that when Berta came out and talked, man, he just like gave that second wind. Because we finally got to hear from someone from Meta. Like he's a consultant of Meta. So, you know, he can say what's public knowledge. But we've never had George confirm MMTLP and talk about MMTLP. We never had Ken talk about it. They always say the Series A preferred share, and that's where a lot of this speculation about MMTLP is not valid came from. So it was just nice that Berta's on there like, yes, MMTLP is the real deal. You buy it, you get it. Questions done. Like there's no denying it now.
Well, the whole thing is, I think that Ken and George are not oil guys. They don't know how to talk about oil. They don't, and it's not just oil. It's a new discovery, right? This is actually virgin land. There's 3.2 billion barrels of oil, probably minimum.
Yeah.
Whoever buys that knows that. No one's drilled it out there before. No one's been pumping oil for the last 100 years in this area, right? Yeah. This area is basically virgin. So it's like you found 3.2 billion barrels of oil on land. Okay, you don't have to build up an offshore oil platform, right?
Yep.
It's a lot cheaper to pump oil out of the ground, and it's on land in Texas, which is the United States. This is a stable country, right? You don't have political instability to get the oil or anything like that. It's easy. All you got to do is pay your taxes.
Yep.
Pump the oil, pay your taxes, done.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the next slide here and let you, it'll come up here in a second, and let you kind of go over this slide right here.
Let's see.
I know maybe that font. If you want me to zoom in on something, just let me know, and I'll zoom in. If you want me to zoom in on the article, or
so this was this was when they discovered oil and gas, right? And what was interesting to me about this is I wanted to know how much a well could produce. Okay, so they said that they had they found oil and gas, right, in this A25 well, and they said that it's producing a certain amount of oil per day, right? And they extrapolated that out. They said, look, if we frack this, if we do what we normally would do to this, we can get about 1,500 barrels of oil per day. Okay, so you multiply that by 365 days a year. Let's say they're going to pump continually, right? It's a machine, it's automated. You know, you don't really need humans there. So that means that you can get about 500,000 barrels per year out of that well, right? And if the price of oil just stays there, that means that that well alone gets you $54 million a year in revenue.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Have 10 production wells on there, that's $500 million.
That's right? Man, that's like truly amazing, man. There. I'll go back over here.
Yeah, the numbers explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go back over here and let people see the bottom part of this article. They can take screenshots.
Yeah, there's a link to it. So you can actually, yeah, if you scroll up to the top, you can find the link to it. So
Oh
you can
yeah,
actually.
right here. Yeah. Let me see.
So a lot of
Hold on.
so a lot of times I just make these slides for myself because it's how I think, right?
Yeah.
And so I like to keep the screenshot. I mean, keep the link on the same screen, so
Nice.
that way I can go to it.
There you go. I got
Yeah.
it back regular size, so if people want to get it there, they can. And also, if anyone wanted this, you could probably just message Tony on Twitter, and he might be able to send it to you if you wanted any certain slide. But usually, um, you can screenshot it and crop it out and get it to what you want. But if you want like
Yeah.
the HD premiere version, actually, I can send it to you if you message me on
Yeah.
Twitter because I have
Yeah.
them here from Tony. All right, so here's the next slide. I'm gonna bring it up and let you talk about this one here for everyone.
Oh yeah. So this was so this particular slide was so I did this to figure out, hey, look, initially I was thinking, 106 if you got to build a pipeline, it's going to cost money, right? And if I calculated out that it's going to cost $160 million or so to build a pipeline, maybe they could potentially have trouble getting the funding, this, that, whatever. And then I thought about it, right? I said, gee, look, how would they get the funding for this, right? So if you look at it, if you look at how much oil they can actually pump from a well without the pipeline, right? Initially, just like pump it and then stick it on a truck and then, a tanker truck and then, and then actually sell it, you could actually wind up selling about $180 million worth of oil just from 10 wells or so, right? So if you come up with that number, then the $160 million doesn't seem that much because that's basically 1 year's worth of production. So if it's just 1 year's worth of production, they should, once they start producing a little bit, they should easily be able to get a pipeline built if they wanted to build a pipeline, right? Because they can just get a loan from the bank and say, hey, look, we got all this oil coming out, and quite frankly, anyone who's pumping oil now, anyone who's pumping out more oil and helping to drive the price of oil down by pumping and supplying oil to the market,
Yeah.
they're going to be helped.
Yeah, and I think I don't think they'll have a problem getting any help if needed.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let me come back here, and we do know too that McCabe is a big, he's going to fund anything if needed. If for some reason McCabe's the back. I mean, he's going to be there if something's needed. So, I don't think they're going to have a problem, but for some reason they would. McCabe's going to be right there to make sure that it's done.
So yeah, I don't think they'll have any funding problems. $160 million though is a lot of money. So if they ever needed to get that, they could. I think it's not a problem.
Yeah. All right, and here is the last slide we have up.
Oh, okay. So this was the idea that I had that, hey, look, what would the plan be if I were trying to sell the land myself, right? So if I wanted to sell stuff, I would want to get the maximum value out of it the same way George would. So you got to build some you got to drill some production wells, you got to build a pipeline, and at that point you can sell the property. But to do all of that, you need to first spin out an oil company, right? You need to spin out Oilco to do all that stuff, and that's the reason why they're doing this. They have it's just what you would normally do,
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is another one here, guys. You could take a screenshot of it, or like I said, if you would want to get any of this, message me, message Tony. We will make sure you will get anything that you need. And I got one more slide. I forgot we had this one.
Oh, hang on. We got one more possibility. So the one thing I didn't talk about was a possible stock swap.
Oh,
so
yeah,
there's a
let me
few.
go back to that. Let me pull it up real quick.
So there's a few players who could actually buy this, right? Because they're oil producers, right? They're basically the big oil companies. So one way that they would actually buy it is by a stock swap, right? That way you can participate in the price of oil going up. That means you would get stock in their company, which also would pay out dividends for pumping oil now, because they're pumping oil, out of their other wells. So you get paid dividends, and when you get paid dividends, you get preferred tax treatment under qualified dividends. Basically, you get the same tax treatment as long-term capital gains, which means you get the maximum tax rate there is about 21. It's about 21%, I think, in terms of federal. They threw in an extra 1% for the Affordable Health Care Act or something like that if it's over $1 million or something like that. So it winds up becoming something like 21%. And chances are, if you have MMTLP, you will wind up being a multimillionaire. So you will pay that extra percent. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of this last year I did taxes. I think I had to pay I had some gains from stuff because it was last year's stuff. But it's been a bloodbath here this year. Even of trades, I thought I could make some money on some swing trades, but some of them did good. And then when I go in the next one, I lose 3 times the amount that I made off the first one. So, it's just the way these swing trades will go. And in this kind of a bear market, there is no, doing that.
Yeah.
And I think you said the max you can claim is like $3,000.
Oh, for losses? Yeah, it's horrible. 3,000 per year.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'll be there for 22 already. So I had a lot of options expire worthless, man. I was telling people I bought metamaterial options back in like October, November, and I bought those January 21st options because I'm like, oh, metamaterial is going to have the dividend out at the end of December. That gives me 3 weeks to see if the dividend comes out and be done. Those options are going to go to the moon. Well, we get the delay, and I lost all my options. They expired. And, when that all came, the price just kept going down and down. I'm like, well, I'm not selling the option at this price because the dividend's on the way. I'm not selling it. And I ended up buying a little more. Well, it just kept going down and down and down. So took a pretty decent loss on the options there, unfortunately. So I won't want to play that game no more, trying to time out the market on any kind of thing. But,
really
if the dividend pays out what it's supposed to be, we don't care about those losses. I mean, if we get what we think this dividend's worth, it is the most convicted play that I'm in right now that I think for what you're going to pay for it has the highest upside potential and a lot of evidence backing that. Just so much evidence backing it. Can anything change? Absolutely. Anything can change. If they can't prove the oil, that's a game changer. That'll change the price drastically if they cannot get it to proven production. So we're hoping that is the key, man. Prove production.
Yeah, but they got a top-notch team there, right? I mean,
absolutely.
John Berta was going to help create that team and all that. So yeah, they're going to do that.
We got a super chat here from Bradley Tate. Thank you so much, man. He has a question here. He says, natural gas will be extremely valuable because Russia will cut off unfriendly countries. Will the value of natural gas be included in addition to oil? How much for natural gas added on to oil value?
Okay, so the amount of oil is about 3.2 billion barrels of oil. The amount of oil equivalent, which includes natural gas, comes out to 3.7 billion barrels, essentially. So you get a bit more with the natural gas. And that's with the price of natural gas being relatively low to the price of oil. But it's been going up dramatically, right? There's a good chance something might happen because we already saw that Russia had some issues with Poland. They wanted to be paid in rubles, and nobody's got rubles, right? So basically that means you got to buy rubles from Russia to pay them in rubles.
Yeah.
So that's what that game is.
Yeah, and like we said in these calculations, we haven't even factored in natural gas. That's just an added little bonus, if that is the case.
That's a huge bonus.
Yeah, just a little bonus. Yeah. All right, let me pull up the next slide here. All right, so this is the last one you sent me, and I'm gonna let you kind of go over what you made on this one.
Yeah, so this was, let's see. Yeah, so this was about human psychology. And so previous to this, I was talking about how shorts actually work. So if you take a short position, it's not necessarily because you want It's not necessarily because you know that the stock is worthless. It's because you know you can drive people's psychology and you can cause them to sell, right? So what happens is that as most human decisions in life are actually emotional decisions, no matter how logical we think we are. We tend to be emotional people, right? And when you're under stress, when you feel as though you've lost money, right? You'll be under stress. When you're under stress, your brain tends to shut off that logical section, right? It shuts off the cerebral cortex and it turns on the medulla oblongata. So basically what happens is that your reptile brain takes over. Your reptile brain is in fight or flight mode. And when you see a massive drop in price, you have almost no control over what you're doing, right? I mean, this is normally done in the military where you see sergeants yelling at recruits, right? They'll like yell at them.
Yeah.
And it's a classic trope, right? But
Yeah.
the reason they're yelling at them is they're making stress. They're teaching the recruits to deal with huge amounts of stress and to try to think logically within that stress. So these issues that you see here with metamaterials, you see massive drops in price combined with large volumes. No one's going to sell a huge volume of metamaterials. No one even has a huge volume of metamaterials to actually sell. So my belief is that they're trying to create a panic reaction. They're trying to cause other people, they're trying to cause what's called a waterfall reaction, right? They want a massive drop in price, and that massive drop in price is going to cause other people to sell, which is going to cause the price to drop even more. And they're going to keep doing that until it feeds in on itself. So they did this all the way down into the price got under $1 even, which was amazing. But of course, under $1, I couldn't buy any because Fidelity turned off the buy button.
And I missed it as well. I was so upset.
Yeah. So so chances are if you wait a long time, you really won't, I think, be able to buy this in the future. What's going to happen is that, like John Berta said, they're going to turn off the buy button again and have forced selling only, right? Or they're going to allow you to sell only, which basically should result in the price dropping significantly, right?
Yep.
And that way they hope to pick up a whole bunch of shares before you get paid out like between $21 to $50 a share, say, right? But if you know that you're going to be paid $21, $50 a share, you're basically going to just ride that out. And at that point, there is a possibility that they'll turn off that they'll turn off the buy button, have the sell button available, and that nobody will sell.
Yeah.
And when that happens, they're going to have to short sell, naked short sell, which screws things up even more because now they'll owe even more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I think Berta's already hinting to that from that, convo on Sunday that he believes that there's going to be some shady stuff happening. And I think probably what you're saying is very true. The buy button's
Yeah.
going to be removed. You ain't even going to be able to call in and buy anymore. They're going to let you sell it, and
Yeah.
they're going to manipulate that price down, And I mean, not financial advice, but I'm not having any sell limits or anything on mine. There ain't nothing on mine. Mine is just in my brokerage, and that is it. So I'm not doing anything with my MMTLP until MetaMaterials announces a price. That's how I'm basing it. Until they give me a price, I will reevaluate the situation and make a decision from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing is, I bought MetaMaterials too late to get the to actually get any MMTLP if it wasn't available to buy afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I was actually planning to do your options trade to get MMT, to get the Series A preferred shares.
Mm-hmm.
Because you came up with this weird way, and then that you found some options were left over, and that you could wind up with Series A preferred shares. I was thinking that's brilliant. I want to do that. And just a day or two before I was going to do that, the MMTLP became available.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, buy that."
Yeah, because when I first was doing those MMAT1 options, I was calling up the people at Fidelity and telling them about the situation. I was trying to confirm that because back then, when it first started, it wasn't even MMTLP, it was TRCHP. TRCHP is what it first came up. So you would get your 100 shares, or no, 50 shares of MMAT and 100 shares of TRCHP. So that's how it first came up. And then once the MMTLP came available, I could buy MMTLP. And for the longest time, my Fidelity, I had TRCHP and MMTLP as two separate tickers with two different amounts in there. And after so long, they merged them together. They both came together as one. And then Fidelity's like, yes, you hold this, you get the dividend. So I'm like, that's all I need to hear. If I can't trust my brokerage to tell me what's on the security, then I don't know if I should be trading in general. So that's kind of how I based it. I'm like, Fidelity is like a legacy company out there that's been out forever. I believe they're well trusted, and they're just doing what they have to. They have it listed as a security and bond. That's why they have to give you the legal spiel. You know, you just got to have enough free time, unfortunately, to be able to do it through them. So
I think the reason that Fidelity is limiting buys on that is that they're having trouble themselves trying to get the shares.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're an honest broker, basically, to be honest. Because if they can't get the shares, they can't sell it to you, right? I mean, you place a buy order with Fidelity and they're like, the shares aren't available. We don't know where those guys are getting it from.
So they want to limit their risk. Because when I called them, I did a post where maybe it was like a month ago, I bought MMTLP and I posted the screenshot on Twitter of the actual buy order, and it showed just me buying 100 shares. You know, I was buying 100 shares every couple of days. I mean, I'm going to post one on here so people can see it, you know, just keep Twitter active. And at the bottom, it had the person selling it was the Knights Equities. And a lot of people was commenting on that saying that, hey, they're not a registered broker. You better be careful because you may not be getting the real deal. So I called Fidelity. I just wanted to get the clarification from my viewers because I felt safe buying it because I've had multiple conversations with Fidelity confirming everything. But I'm like, let me call them and have them talk about this Knights Equity, you know. And everything that was on there was pretty much right. They said they haven't been registered since, I think it was 2012, 2013. But Fidelity does not sell shares unless they have them. So Knights Equity has to register those shares with Fidelity, and they're not allowed to, in a sense, naked short sell them into Fidelity. Fidelity has to have them in-house. So that's probably why, like we're saying here, Fidelity's limited to calling, because I've missed out on numerous days of buying because of the calling. If I could just buy it freely on the app, they'd have a lot less shares.
Yeah, if the shares were available, Fidelity would buy them and give them to you, right? I mean, if you place a buy order with Fidelity, they would do it.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going on is that there's a limited amount, and they're not getting as many people selling as before. And the other day when I covered the volume, MMTLP had some weird volume days. There for a while, it was only trading like 100,000 to 200,000 shares a day. And our average volume is like over 600,000 actually a day. It's crazy enough.
Normally.
As the average volume through Yahoo Finance. And the other day we hit over 600,000 trades with Fidelity where you have to call in. Where did that number come from? Where did those come in at? Like, how did we trade 600,000 shares when Fidelity you have to call in and basically have an hour and a half time? Now, a lot of other brokerages do it with the fee, but if Fidelity didn't have the buy button call in situation, I believe these numbers would be a lot higher. So,
yeah, I think the guys at Fidelity found out what the risk was on their side, right? And they said, look, we'll have to pay out a dividend of such and such an amount, right? And the price of oil is going up. And they said, if we can't get these shares, we can't sell them to our clients. So basically they're saying.
I did think it was funny because I called Fidelity on Monday and I said I need to speak to a fixed income specialist. I'm trying to buy MMTLP. The representative knew right away, oh, the MetaMaterials Preferred Series A share. He knew right away what I was talking about. So these people are getting trained pretty good on what this MMTLP is. And they got me on hold through the fixed income specialist, and I sat on hold for 20 minutes. I I didn't get through, so I had to hang up and go back to work. Like, I'll call them Tuesday. As soon as my lunch break started, I called them. I called the fixed income number. I get the fixed income number. The person transferred me to a wrong department first. They transferred me back to the correct department. I was on hold for another 26 minutes. But the first representative was funny. I gave them my name, and they verified me by my phone number and my name and my voice, because Fidelity would do your name, your phone number, and your voice. They verify you those 3 ways. And when I got to the representative, well, hello, Mr. Yonker, are you looking to buy MMTLP today? They already had it in my notes that's the only thing I'm buying when I'm calling in there is MMTLP. And the only time I ever called Fidelity was for MMAT1 options, which is where I was buying the Torchlight preferred share, and MMTLP. So that's the only phone records they ever have of me pretty much calling in. So they got this record of this guy calling in for this certain situation every single time. And you think that someone would be an employee there is like, if they're working at a stockbroker, why is this person so interested in this? Maybe I should do a little due diligence on this. And what are some of the employees are buying it just to throw some money in and say, hey, all these people are calling in. Well, they have to have notes on the Fidelity account of what's going on. So you probably got people at Fidelity like, well, I'm going to buy some too because all these other people are buying it.
Yeah, Fidelity is actually a pretty cool brokerage because like when I was trading crypto and all that, we had, or actually I wasn't trading crypto, I was just buying crypto. So I live in Silicon Valley and I went to this place called Plug and Play, and we had some guys from Fidelity come down. Right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had some guys from Fidelity come down and they knew everything about crypto. They said they were buying crypto on their own because Fidelity wanted to get into the crypto space.
Okay.
They still haven't gotten it all the way through yet because the SEC is not approving them. They're not approving anybody for a crypto ETF, but the Fidelity guys knew all about it and they were trying to find out ways that they could buy.
That's awesome. It would be awesome to work for like a brokerage like that, because if you're taking phone calls all day, you're hearing people what they want to buy. So, I mean, I had to kind of go through, because me being a YouTuber, I was calling in and I'm asking questions because I want to get answers for the viewers. So they're probably constantly getting calls like this of people inquiring before they spend their money. And it probably would make the representative a little curious of, well, this person's that curious. Let me write that down and I'll investigate that tonight or tomorrow or whatever. And maybe I'll grab a couple. And most people are like, oh, I'll throw 500,000 in it and let it set and forget about it and see what happens. All right. So, all right, guys. If y'all have any questions for Tony, you can put them down here real quick. We'll have a couple minutes for questions. And I think we'll get ready to call it an end to the stream. Don't want to tie up Tony too much longer. It's been a great stream and great. I just want to say thank you, Tony, for coming on, man. I do want to, as people comment down below, here in the near future, Tony and Roller Pigeons is going to do a live stream together. Tony, do you know if that's going to be on your channel or Roller Pigeons' channel?
Probably going to be on Roller Pigeons.
Okay, so yeah, perfect. So just so you guys know, in the near future, I'm sure Roller Pigeons will announce it. Tony here will announce it. If they let me know, I'll announce it here because I want everyone to know to go watch that stream. They'll set up the date and time, and I'll let y'all know. They'll let you know when it all happens. Everyone is saying thank you for the videos. Thank you for the info, man. You guys are awesome. So, all right, Tony.
Hey, thank you. Because so one thing I want to say is you're there every single day. And you talk about MMAT and MMTLP, and that's something that it's really important to have people who are there every day in and day out. So if anyone watches my channel, watch Terry's, because he's going to be there continually every single day.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've had a lot of people message me and say, like, thank you for your videos coming out. Like, how can you be so positive in this bear market? Like, how can you be so positive when the stock is just beat down every day? You know, beat down. And I'm like, because I personally believe in metamaterials for the long term. I believe in MMTLP for the short term. That's my outlook on it. MMTLP is a short-term play. MMAT is a long-term play. As John Berta said, it's a generational stock. So it's one you buy, it's going to be 10 years down the road, 5, 10 years down the road when this company really gets rocking and rolling with what they're doing. So if I can help people understand why I'm still bullish and maybe help that person not want to sell their shares at these prices, if I even help one person, my video was worth it. Because as we know, us retail, man, we're all human. It sucks seeing the portfolio get beat down. And we just learned here today that the max we can claim is $3,000. Thank you, government. Thank you, government, on that. So yeah, that's why I come out here and try to keep positive. I just love YouTube. I do. I just truly love YouTube. I enjoy it. And it's kind of like a family in here, man. Like with the people commenting every day. You got the same people coming in every day, loving the videos and stuff. And yeah, that's all I really got to say, man. I love being positive. Go ahead.
Oh, I had one quick comment. So the one thing I learned after that, after I learned that the max I can actually claim in taxes is $3,000 a year loss, what I typically do now is if I have more than $3,000 a year loss, I will not sell. I will keep that loss on the books, right? And then when I get a huge gain, I will offset that. Then I will sell and take that loss. And that'll offset the gain,
Gotcha, smart.
So, yeah.
I got the perfect question to end the stream. I'm going to let you answer it, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Jerry V asks, how does Tony feel about Roller Pigeon's dividend prediction of 29 to 46?
I think it's great. I think she's terrific. Yeah. So I think so Roller Pigeons is conservative because I think she doesn't believe her own numbers that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
And could be higher than what she thinks because I tend to come from a just raw math background. So if the price of oil starts heading upwards, if there's all sorts of reasons for the price of oil to go up and all sorts of reasons for that dividend to go up even more. Because if we need oil desperately and there's a new find of 3.2 billion barrels in Texas, which is the US of A, we're going to drill that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got a couple comments. They're saying that apparently your losses can carry over and offset capital gains for future years. So I wasn't aware of that. So I'm guessing...
So what you do is you don't sell your losses is the way, and you offset that capital gains. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least that's what I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
So at one point it lose $15,000 or something like that, and I wound up having to do $3,000 per year for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was very painful.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's going to be it, guys. Unless Tony, you have anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So
Thanks
we covered everything. I'm going to say thank you to Tony for hopping on. Guys, go check out his channel. Let me go pull him up here real quick. And Market Moves MMAT. Let me pull him up here. Guys, you got to know to go to the man's channel. There we go. There we go. All right. Come on, guys. He has 1,300 viewers. We need to get more subscribers on Tony's channel, man. I'm going to put your channel link, Tony, in the comments of this live stream. So that way people will have your channel link down in the comments once this video goes public. So, all right, guys. When this is finished and uploaded, go subscribe to Tony, man. And we'll be looking for that Roller Pigeons live stream here in the next few weeks. And that is it. Hope you all have a great evening. Peace.